start a playfield, I like to think about what new could we bring to pinball that people haven't seen. I really wanted a flowing game because that just felt like Venom, and I think we really achieved that.
No way.
So Venom, I think, is a great fit for pinball. He's such a rich world that he can play in. There's been so many stories written about him. We just had an immense amount to draw from.
So Brian and I started getting together, we started having meetings. I knew a lot about Venom. I collected all the comics back then.
He has different hosts, and we thought we could do a lot with it.
Almost everybody has been a host to Venom at some point, but that's kind of the appeal of the character, is that he can become whatever you want him to be.
So right from the beginning, I think Dwight had the initial idea of he wanted different hosts for Venom.
Now, I like to make games that have lots of breadth. So breadth requires lots of different stuff that you can do, and each new mode or feature needs a different character to go along with it. So we decided that we wanted to let the player change host every ball.
So each host has different abilities, so it's really up to the player to kind of choose their play style. Took that a step further and saying, well, let's change the game, change the shots along with it.
When you change your host, you also change the ball paths that you shoot. You change where a lock is going to be for this host or that one, where a combo it will be for this host or the next one.
There's a 180 scoop that whips the ball back to you in 180 degrees that actually rotates and changes into 3 different shots. So one of them's a 180 scoop, the next one up is a dead stop and hold of the ball. And then the third one activates a U-turn, and that loops the ball right back to the player really fast.
That particular mechanism, so underneath there's a motor with a few switches and a cam that determine when it's going to stop. A 2-position mech like that is pretty simple. Once you add in a 3rd position, that gets a little tricky because you don't have a guaranteed location to key off of. But I spent a bit of time making sure that that works correctly.
Right off the bat, when Brian and I first learned that we're going to do Venom, well, of course we're going to use Zombie Yeti. We're going to use Jeremy Packard.
I'm very familiar with Venom. I kind of loved that character. I love that era.
He's drawn all the comics forever. He's just knocked it out of the park.
I really tried to kind of homage, I guess, a little bit Todd McFarlane going into Mark Bagley. I feel fairly successful in the playfield in that I got every character there. Some of them more than once.
Not only that, but we took his art and we used it to do the display too. So the look and feel of his characters on all the artwork is exactly the same with the look and feel in the display. So it's a very cohesive package.
We got Mark Tremonti to do music for us, and he's awesome. We met him a couple of times. He's a great guy.
A few years ago, I reached out to my friends at Stern and I said, I really would love to be a part of anything you got going on in the future. Here we are. I got a machine with my music in it, and it's a dream come true because I've been a pinball fanatic for 25 years now.
We had several tracks from him, and they were great, and Dwight said, yeah, I think he should be Eddie Brock.
When I first turned in the music for the game, I hoped that that music would fit the pinball vibe, and when I heard it in action, I was like, this is the best pinball music vibe I could ever hope for.
Yeah, I think the Tremonti music was a great fit for Venom just because of the speed and the energy and the drive that's in the music.
Dwight wanted each character to have their own music.
When you change the flash, you get sort of military orchestral, you know, kind of the dun 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 dun, you know. And then if you change again to Gwen, you get 70s funk with a little bit of Prince mixed in.
And I said, well, we should probably go techno for Peter. And then we said, well, let's probably get their own sounds too. So every character has a different sound set for targets and switches. We're like doing 4 games in one, really.
In the layout of the game, I wanted a couple of things. It should be a very smooth, fast flowing game. And that's kind of where the fast locks come from.
The fast locks are a pretty unique feature on this game. They're decorated as a symbiote containment unit, but it's really what keeps the game flowing and keeps you on your toes as a player. Each fast lock has the ability to release a ball as soon as you complete another shot on the game that feeds that lock.
You shoot a shot and the ball is on the flipper, and then you shoot a shot and the ball is on the flipper. The ball is constantly in motion, you're constantly battling the game.
It just feels like Venom to me. It also kind of flows into, it's a battle game. So we had to have some big characters for you to fight.
And we have Carnage, the main villain of the game, and he's going to be in the back corner, and we want the player to be able to push him back into Ravencroft and lock him up.
So the captive ball mech with Carnage, I think, is really unique because it actually saves your position on how hard you hit it. So it really depends. If you just graze it, he's only going to move a little. If you hit it really hard, he may go back 3/4 of the way.
The initial versions were a little rough. I think this is version 12, but ultimately we went with some wheels and a ratchet system. You can actually see the holes in the plate, and every time you push them up, there's a little, what's called a pawl, falling into those holes and keeping them in the place.
I think the whole planet knows about Venom and Carnage, but there's a lot of symbiotes that are lesser known. We have 20 different characters in the game because we need lots of villains. So every time we want to have a different mode or a different thing that we're doing, we need another character for it. So Marvel was great at that. Marvel said, here, have all these guys do anything you want with them, and we did.
So I wanted to make a special mech for another character that you battled. So we came up with Doppelganger, who swings out into the playfield, has 3 targets hanging from him. He's basically the surprise attack character. So you're not sure when you're playing exactly when he's going to jump out.
The initial version of Doppelganger was just a straight up and down, and we realized very quickly that when it was in the up position, it kind of hid a lot of the playfield. You couldn't see some of the inserts and some of the shots on the right side. Actually came up with a really clever mechanism. It's a simple molded cam underneath that still uses a single coil to cause the rotation and vertical movement at the same time. He swings up out of the way when he's not involved in the gameplay, and then when it's time for him to attack, he swings forward, surprise attack. It's a really surprising moment if you haven't seen it.
So Brian and I are throwing around ideas, and we wanted to make a game where everyone can eventually beat the final boss. And it became clear that we needed some system, and we were like, well, Insider Connected is the magic. So we invented this experience point system where you level up, and your level and other things are saved for you from game to game with Insider Connected.
Leveling up, I think, is a natural to bring into pinball. And in our game, it means that your character gets stronger the more you play.
So instead of a mode-based game, we have these things called paths. Each host gives you a different path toward the end of the game.
So when you log in with Insider Connected, it will actually save all the progress you do while playing the game. This will work on any game, no matter where you play it in the world.
It was so cool that we were going to have the launch for Venom at San Diego Comic-Con of all places. You couldn't ask for a better place for Venom to be unveiled to the world.
Hey everybody, we're here at Comic-Con introducing the Venom pinball machine for the very first time. Venom is the first game to be produced at the new Stern factory. I think what people are really going to enjoy about Venom is just the smooth flow of the playfield and the shots leading to each other, the toys from Carnage to Doppelganger.
It's a game about trying to level up. It's a game about saving your progress.
I can walk up to this game and play it a different way every time.
The tone of Venom, a little darker. It's a great action game, especially with the fast locks.
It's a very fast, ferocious, quick, and that's how I like pinball.
I think it's one of those games that there's something for everyone in it.
I think all those things are pretty unique to Venom, and you put them all together and it's just a great experience.
I like to say, choose your host, change the game. I hope marketing picks up on that.